The first thing that strikes you when you walk through the garden today is how much life has returned to this place. What once looked like an open stretch of bare ground now hums with color, texture, and promise. These apple trees, planted only a few years ago, stand as living milestones of that transformation. Each one has a story to tell, from the sweetly tart Honeycrisp, to the bold Fuji, to the classic Macintosh and Rayburn. Together, they've turned this once empty space into an orchard filled with shade, fragrance, and anticipation of the harvest season. It's hard to believe that just a short time ago, this ground was nothing more than dust and empty rows. Looking back at old footage, it almost feels like a different world. Back then, it was all about vision, a dream of creating something enduring, something that would feed both the body and the soul. And now, standing here, the orchard feels like a reward for patience, persistence, and faith in time's quiet work. But orchards are never just about beauty. They're about experiments, challenges, and sometimes disappointments. This year, I tried something new, bagging the apples to protect them from worms without using sprays. Tiny mesh bags, tied carefully around each developing fruit, became little guardians. In theory, they let the apples breathe and ripen while keeping pests away. In practice, the story has been mixed. Some apples made it through beautifully clean and crisp, like little wrapped gifts waiting to be unwrapped. Others, despite the effort, still bear the telltale scars of worm damage. And sometimes, the bags themselves disappeared, dragged off by squirrels or birds who outsmarted us in their hunt for a treat. There's a lesson in that. Gardening, like life, is never about perfection. It's about learning, adapting, and carrying forward the wisdom of each season. Bagging the apples was slow and sometimes frustrating, but it opened a new perspective. Next year, maybe the kale and clay spray will be worth trying. It's faster, easier, and may just outwit the worms where the mesh bags fell short. Still, even the worm-damaged fruit has its place. Those blemished apples make wonderful applesauce, and in baking, you can trim away the bad and still savor the sweet. Nothing truly goes to waste here. Walking further into the orchard, the Honeycrisp catches my eye. These apples, with their crisp bite and perfect balance of tart and sweet, are the jewels of early autumn. This tree, though still young, has gifted us a handful of fruit, some tucked into bags, others left bare as experiments. I can still see where a robin built her nest among the branches, raising her chicks as the apples swelled and grew. In protecting her space, I couldn't reach every fruit to bag them, and so some were lost. But that compromise was worth it. There's something magical about sharing this garden with wild creatures, about knowing the orchard is not just for us, but part of a much larger story of life. And then there's the Fuji. A later ripener, heavy with promise, its apples blush gently as the season cools. Here, the experiment worked better. Many fruits are flawless, smooth, clean, shining in the autumn sun. They hang like ornaments on a living holiday tree, reminders of why patience is always rewarded. While some apples will stay on the branch to sweeten a little more, today we'll gather just enough for something special. Not too many, just a careful few, because today, the orchard's gift is headed straight for the kitchen. But before we leave this space, there's more planting to do. A cedar of Lebanon waits, its roots bound in the heavy soil of its container. There's also an ivory silk lilac, ready to take its place. Planting trees always feels symbolic. You're investing not in today, but in tomorrow. A cedar will outlive us all, stretching skyward for decades, even centuries. The lilac, with its fragrant spring blossoms, will one day fill the air with perfume, welcoming bees and butterflies as it anchors this corner of the garden. Every tree we plant is another step toward a future more abundant than the present, a future built with intention and care. The process isn't always graceful. Old irrigation pipes are unearthed, rusted wire cages appear beneath the soil, and decisions about placement demand patience and rethinking. But even in the messiness, there's satisfaction. Each tree, once settled in with mulch and water, stands as a testament to persistence, a reminder that growth rarely comes without obstacles. And as the orchard fills with life, these new additions promise shade, beauty, and resilience for years to come. By the time the spades are set aside and the last root ball is tucked into place, the anticipation shifts indoors. The real centerpiece of the day awaits, baking an apple spice cake with the harvest we've gathered. There's something deeply comforting about this ritual, taking fruit grown with your own hands, flawed yet perfect in its authenticity, and turning it into something warm, fragrant, and nourishing. In the kitchen, the grated apples release their juice, filling the air with a sharp, sweet aroma. Cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves swirl into the flour, each spice carrying memories of autumns past. The batter comes together thick and rustic, speckled with apple, promising a cake that will be moist and rich. Pouring it into the pan feels almost ceremonial, as if the orchard's journey this year has come full circle. What began as blossoms in spring is now transformed into a dessert meant to be shared. As the oven warms the house, there's time to reflect. Gardening isn't about quick rewards. These trees took years to root, to stretch, to give. The apples weren't perfect, and the methods weren't flawless. But still, here we are, with baskets of fruit, with trees standing tall, with lessons learned. It's a cycle that keeps teaching patience, resilience, and gratitude. When the cake emerges, golden and fragrant, it feels like more than food. It feels like celebration, of the land, of the harvest, of family gathered to taste the sweetness of what's been created together. Topped with a simple brown sugar icing that glistens under the kitchen light, each slice tells a story of labor, care, and love. And that's what makes this day unforgettable. The orchard isn't just about apples, it's about the experiences tied to them, the mornings spent pruning, the hours spent bagging fruit, the laughter of children helping in the kitchen, the satisfaction of planting something that will outlive us. It's about slowing down, reconnecting with the earth, and remembering that even in imperfections, there is abundance. This garden, this orchard, this cake, they remind us that every effort, every experiment, every small act of care adds up to something greater than itself. And as one season closes, another begins, full of promise, full of opportunities to try again. For today, though, the lesson is simple: savor the fruit of your labor, share it with those you love, and trust the rhythm of growth. Because in the end, it's not just about apples or trees or cake. It's about creating moments that root us in gratitude, anchor us in nature, and remind us of what truly matters. And those moments, the ones that linger long after the harvest is gone, are the sweetest of all.